Hi, and welcome to my 29th weekly live stream. Thank you for tuning in. Glad you could be with me this week. Here's a song called What Good Did It Do?
Collected my prize, I took first place, for a runner-up, a sad look on her face. I didn't drink the champagne, left my ribbon there too. Okay, so I won, but what good did it do? Okay, so I won. What good did it do? I stood with conviction, I put up a fight for the truth as I saw it, for peace, love, and light. I fought off the darkness for the first round or two. I got my licks in, but what good did it do? I got my licks in. What good did it do? And in the end I was right. Upon further review, all those things I was saying really proved to be true. I got an admission, an apology too. In the end I was right. What good did it do? In the end I was right, but what good did it do? Tried to live by my morals, I spoke my mind. Some friends got offended, one or two they resigned. I was just being honest, they already knew. I just tried to remind them, but what good did it do? I tried to remind them, what good did it do? And I could hold a grudge being angry. It's not enough being right. I'd rather be happy. That's a hard enough fight. I'd rather be happy with all of my might than to sit here and stew. What good would it do to sit here and stew? What good would it do? I'd rather be happy, happy with you.
Glad you could be with me. As you know, this is a pay what you want. There's no paywall, no ticket price, so I'm relying on everybody watching to pay whatever it is that you're comfortable with, and I appreciate anything that you can offer. This is my sole means of making a living for the time being. Let's see what's next. Oh, and if you're interested in tipping, the URLs are all at the very beginning of the comments in both YouTube and Facebook, and they'll also be in the chat window on YouTube. Speaking of YouTube, if you are watching on YouTube, please, please, please subscribe to my channel. And just so you know, for future reference, the set list for every show is listed in the comments. They're all archived, so if you're ever looking for a particular song, it's real easy to find it now. So here's the very first song I ever wrote after I moved to North Carolina 25 years ago. I was told that the two types of people live here. Those born and raised here are the been heres, and those who've moved here are the come heres.
Well, the come heres and the been heres, they don't get along. I'd been there 15 minutes. I knew something was wrong. The waitress was not friendly, neither was the cook. Till I asked how far it was to the town of Stony Brook. The come heres live in cabins, the been heres live in shacks. They say hello in passing, then talk behind each other's backs. White collars versus rednecks, horses versus mules. The city kids that come here and make the teachers look like fools. Come here's come with laptops, Wii and DVRs. Some of them have GPSs inside their hybrid cars. They want to make no smoking zones in all the public places. They want to pass an ordinance outlawing turkey races. Well, the ancestors have been heres that came here early on, when they were just the Indians, once they were gone. They claimed themselves the New World. There was lots to go around. Carved up a bunch of properties and they built this little town. But now the come heres nearly have the votes to make one of them mayor. And in the last election, they won half the council chairs. They took over the school board. They outlawed the morning prayers. They're teaching evolution, sex education there. The been heres do their drinking in a been here owned saloon. But in that brand new microbrewery, there's a separate dining room. And only at the Kmart or the Walmart will they mix. They think of one another as carrot nibblers and hicks. The come heres have the pussycats in their little white French poodles. The been heres have their hound dogs with names like Yankee Doodle. The come heres like to watch the ducks. Some of them like to feed them Ben here's like to shotgun 'em and take 'em home and eat 'em. Well, the come here's keep a-comin', new ones every day. They come for second chances, the new world, as they say. They're buying Sylvie's properties for unheard of amounts. The come here's keep a-comin', building up this little town. The come here's and the been here's, two towns that overlap. You would not even see it by just looking at your map. Well, I was there at Christmas time when a tree was just a tree, and you could not tell whose kids were whose, sitting there on Santa's knee. Well, the come here's and the been here's, there's talk about a fence. The whole town is divided, half for and half against.
I'd love to know where you're watching from. If you'd please put that in the comments, I'd appreciate that. What else? If you have any requests for feature weeks, also, I would love to know that. Here is a song that, it was really a joyous song to write. I have been, as you may know, I've gone over to Denmark many times over the years, and I'm quite fond of the Danes. And I learned about something that they did during World War II that was just incredible. They managed to save their entire Jewish population. They found out, somebody in the government found out that the Germans were planning on sending 2 big passenger ships to Copenhagen Harbor. They would round up all the Jews and deport them to concentration camps. But a very grassroots effort was put into play, and people went door to door warning all of their Jewish neighbors, and they managed to move them all safely to little harbor towns, and then under cover of darkness, with whatever boats were available, they managed to take them the 10 or so miles across the Øresund Sound to Sweden, which offered to take them all in. So this is called A Dane Was a Dane.
The gardens were tended, the animals fed, even the blankets were tucked in the beds. Nothing was broken, the walkways were swept, and everything looked like it did when they left. The government stepped down, they firmly refused to carry out the order to round up the Jews. The Dane was a Dane, and the law was the law. There'd be no Jewish question in Denmark at all. Sweden was willing to take them all in till it was safe to go back home again. From the time word of the plan was leaked, they only would have until the end of the week. No organization, no chain of command. It was just everybody lending a hand. Schools were closed, work shut down, while the people were moved to little harbor towns. They came full of ones who had already gone to passenger ships that they didn't get on. After spending a week in the harbor waiting, they slipped away from Copenhagen. People were hidden in hospital beds, bandages wrapped around their faces and heads. Some were hidden in homes or in schools or in backyard sheds with the garden tools rowboats, fishing boats, dinghies, and yachts. Took them the 9 or 10 miles across. The German patrols, they hadn't a clue. Right under their noses and back again to the Cape full of ones who had already gone. To passenger ships that they didn't get on. After spending a week in the harbor waiting, they slipped away from Copenhagen. The crossings were made under cover of night, aiming for those faraway lights. Babies were drugged to keep them asleep. Nobody spoke and nobody breathed. 7,000 people were saved, thanks to their neighbors, decent and brave. And when they got home, their walkways were swept, and everything looked like it did when they left. They came for the ones who had already gone. Two passenger ships that they didn't get on. After spending a week in the harbor waiting, they slipped away from Copenhagen.
So, some years ago, I picked a lot of fruit back in my 20s. I picked a lot of citrus in Israel, and I picked a lot of apples and peaches and some pears in Washington State outside of Wenatchee. And this is a song that I wrote about my friends. They were all illegals from Mexico. I was the only one that wasn't. And they all had to worry about the immigration police, which in Spanish is called la migra. The immigration police would come around trying to catch the undocumented workers and deport them. But we had a signal amongst ourselves. Whoever saw them come driving up the driveway to the orchard first would whistle. And next thing you know, everybody would disappear. They'd jump off their ladders, drop their fruit sacks to the ground and disappear, and I'd be the only one still picking until La Migra left. So I wrote my friends this song. It's called La Migra Viene, means the immigration police are coming. The other Spanish word in it is andale, which means run.
Mornings were chilly, the air was crisp as a striped or a red or a golden delicious. Couple tortillas, coffee with rum. By the time the sun came up, would have half have been done. Trees were like temples, was a holiness to them. Picked out the bottoms and then all the way through them. Up on the ladder, out on a limb, trees like temples, and I love being in them. Fernando amazed me, he was the quickest. 18 bins in a day he could do. I got 9 once, that was with the big fruit. Only worked as hard as I needed to. Sometimes though, on the nicest of days, somebody would whistle and my friends would run away. They were yelling, La migra, la migra, la migra viene. Andale, andale, run, run. Oh, they leapt from the ladders to the next nearest orchards, spreading the word that La migra was coming. My Spanish was stiff, little too formal. I cracked them up, they taught me to cuss. Even better was cussing when they all went a-running. Even better was cussing at the big yellow bus. Van brought him in till the bus was loaded. Sometimes whole families, well, at least you'd have thought, they'd be back next week up on their ladders, giving new names the next time they got caught. Sometimes, though, on the nicest of days, somebody would whistle and my friends would run away. There I am, la migra, vieni. Andale, andale, run, run. Oh, they leapt from the ladders to the next nearest orchards, spreading the word that the migra was coming. La migra, vieni. Andale, andale, run, run. Oh, they leapt from the ladders to the next nearest orchards, spreading the word that the migra was coming.
I'd like to show you a couple things here. If you're watching on Facebook, you can follow me. If you see that little bell-shaped icon just above the red arrow and you click on it, it'll give you a couple of options, and that way whenever I go live and you're on Facebook, it'll let you know. Also, if you're interested in tipping, let's see if I can get this to come up. I guess not. This is what I wanted to show you. Nope. That's what I wanted to show you. There are 3 different ways that you can tip: Venmo, PayPal, Cash App. And if you're interested in picking up CDs, you can do that at chuckbrodsky.com. If you're interested in digital downloads, you can pick them up at bandcamp.com, and you can pay whatever you'd like. You'll see in the upper left corner, there's the URL for Patreon, my site on patreon.com. I'll talk about that a little bit later. That's pretty special. On a family trip a number of years ago to Israel, we went to the Holocaust Museum, Yad Vashem. It happened to be Holocaust Remembrance Day. And I saw these braids. They belonged to a little girl once upon a time by the name of Lily Hirsch. And her mother found out that the Nazis had just taken over the village nearest to them and were on their way to their village soon. And Lily's hair had never been cut. She was 8 years old, and her mother decided to cut off those braids before the Nazis got there. And she took them to the next door neighbor's house and asked if they would please look after those braids until the end of the war. And they did. Unfortunately, only Lily's brother survived, and he came back to those neighbors and retrieved those braids.
The house he was born in was only next door. His country had vanished, his people no more. Out in the garden, some little boys played. He had only come back to retrieve Lily's braids. The neighbors were home to their word they were true. They'd kept them safe like they said they would do. Despite any orders they might have obeyed, it was righteous of them to have kept Lily's braids. And word had come down, the Germans were near. They've taken a village a few miles from here. was no place to run. There was no place to hide. It was no longer safe to be going outside. And whispers of horrors, what they did to the Jews, sorting into piles their clothing and shoes at the railway station, shaving their heads, then taking the hair to make pillows and beds. Lily's hair had never been cut. The curtains were drawn, the doors were shut. It had hung to her knees just moments before. The braids would be safe with the people next door. Lily's mother quietly prayed. She said, "Come here, child, and don't be afraid. I promise you one day we'll pin them back on after the war, when the soldiers are gone." The house he was born in was only next door. Lily's brother returned sometime after the war. They were all he had left. How heavy they weighed. Well, maybe not as much now that he'd retrieved Lily's braids. Maybe not as much now.
So it's time for a baseball song. Now, this is one of the saddest baseball stories I've ever heard, but it has a beautiful ending. It's about a terrible mistake that was made by an umpire named Jim Joyce not too many years ago. A pitcher for the Detroit Tigers, Armando Galarraga, was 1 out away from a perfect game. And the batter hit the ball to the right side of the infield. First baseman went to field the ball. Armando Galarraga covered first base. He caught the throw in time. But Jim Joyce, the umpire, didn't see it that way, and this was before instant replay was used to overturn blown calls. So he called the batter safe at first base, even though the pitcher, Galarraga, knew that it should have been a perfect game, the final out of a perfect game. And so he walked back to the mound with half a smile on his face and pitched to the next batter, got him out, won the game. After the game, when Jim Joyce had a chance to watch the replay in the umpire's locker room, he realized he had made a terrible mistake and cost this fella a perfect game. And so he did an amazing thing. He sent word to the Tigers' locker room to please have Armando Galarraga come to the umpire's locker room so that he could personally apologize. And then the next day, Jim Joyce was the home plate umpire. And instead of the Tigers' manager coming out to home plate with the lineup card, they sent Armando Galarraga with the lineup card. And he and Jim Joyce shook hands at home plate, and Jim Joyce broke into tears. Jim Joyce is a hero in my book. He did the right thing. So I wrote the song. For him, it's called Stand Up Guy.
Jim Joyce, he's a stand-up guy. Listen to me and I'll tell you why. He made a mistake and it made him cry, and I didn't go fishing for an alibi. Jim Joyce, stand-up guy. Pitcher was throwing a perfect game, got the first 2 outs of the final frame. Ball was hit, he won the race. He caught the throw with his foot on the base. Jim Joyce, stand-up guy. Joyce called the batter safe at first, a putrid call, the all-time worst, a travesty. The guy was out, the replay showed beyond a doubt. Jim Joyce, stand-up guy. With half a smile to mask his grief, the pitcher stood in disbelief. He never lost his dignity. His eyes, though, said, "You're kidding me." Jim Joyce, stand-up guy. But there still was one more out to get. Game, it wasn't over yet. It should have been. He caught the throw, plenty of time, but there you go, Jim Joyce, stand-up guy. And in the locker room, Joyce watched the tape, and it left them all bent out of shape. He sat a while alone, distressed, outside the door, the bloodthirsty press. Jim Joyce, stand-up guy. Well, I cost that kid a perfect game. He stood up sobbing and took the blame. I was convinced of what I saw. I just missed the bleeping call. Jim Joyce, stand-up guy. Well, Jim Joyce, he's a stand-up guy. He called for the pitcher to please come by. Face to face, apologized. Jim Joyce's tears were Texas-sized. Jim Joyce, stand-up guy. Oh, nobody's perfect, the pitcher would say in an interview. The very next day, he's only human. He made a mistake, and I hope everybody will cut him a break. Jim Joyce, stand-up guy. Yeah, the ump had an imperfect game. It happens sometimes, and it's a shame. But all you can do is stand up tall and say you're sorry you blew the call. Jim Joyce, stand-up guy. Yeah, Jim Joyce, he's a stand-up guy. Listen to me and I'll tell you why. He made a mistake, he made him cry, and he didn't go fishing for an alibi. Jim Joyce, stand-up guy. Jim Joyce, stand-up guy. Jim Joyce, stand-up guy.
I want to show you some pictures here. There's the play at first base. You can clearly see the ball's in the pitcher's glove before his batter's foot touches first. And there's Galarraga walking back to the mound after the call with that half smile. There they are the next day at home plate. And there's Jim Joyce. So I just want to take a second to talk about patreon.com. It's a fantastic platform where people can support their favorite artists on a monthly basis, and you pledge whatever amount you're comfortable with. It can be $5, $10 a month, $20 a month. It can be $1 a month. Some people have different tiers where you get access to more things the higher your tier, but I don't do it that way. Everybody has equal access to everything that I share on patreon.com, whether you support me at $1 a month or $20 or $50 a month. But I share things there like first drafts of new songs, or very first recordings or videos of new songs. I'll sometimes do a Zoom hangout with my patrons, a private hangout where they can request any songs that they want, and I'll play them if I know them. Or we chat about whatever. There's lots of things that I can share there, and if you would like to consider becoming my patron, there's that URL again in the upper left corner. And at the very least, you could check out my Patreon site and see some of the things that I have shared. Here's a song that a time or two, I suppose, has been taken to be autobiographical. I am sure you will not make that same mistake.
Me and my supremacist friends are only doing what God intends. Burning crosses, burning mosques, vandalizing synagogues. We're the patriotic sons with our semi-automatic guns, prepping for a civil war to make things like they was before. Me and my supremacist clan, this is how we take our stand underneath a Nazi flag, marching right up the main drag, past the church, past the school where they teach the golden rule, where the children play outside. When we go by, they run and hide. The secret handshake makes you kin, at the door it gets you in. It's how we tell a friend from foe, it's something only we would know. Supremacist bud, stir each other's thirst for blood, getting drunker by the hour, mixing things that all taste sour, so we can't control the rage. Any excuse to open the cage, cannot stay inside the house, the beast is foaming at the mouth. Me and my supremacist dad one time beat a foreigner bad. He was somewhere he shouldn't have been. He shouldn't have been with his color skin. And after Daddy kicked his ass and left him lying in the grass, I got some of my own licks in. He was somewhere he shouldn't have been. The secret handshake makes you kin. At the door it gets you in. It's how we tell a friend from foe, it's something only we would know. Me and my 12-year-old son one time made a foreigner run, chased him down a dead-end street until the circle was complete. There was nowhere that he could run, but I couldn't do what my daddy done. Not in front of my own son. Couldn't do what Daddy done. The secret handshake makes you kin. At the door it gets you in. It's how we tell a friend from foe, it's something only we would know. Handshake makes you kin. At the door it gets you in. It's how we tell a friend from foe, it's something only we would know.
So, we've reached the point in the show I like to call Puck View, and this is a very special puck this week. This is the team that I used to play for out in Berkeley, California. The brewers. We designed our own logo. We had 6 or 7 home brewers. So we changed the name of our team. Came up with that logo. And I'll show you one other picture. Maybe you can recognize the fella in the middle. Those are the brewers. Those are the good old days. So, got time for a few more for you. Once again, I'd love to know where you're watching from. Put that in the comments, and if you have any requests for future weeks, put that in the comment too. If you're interested in having a private Zoom concert, or if you are interested in having me sing Holocaust songs for an educational program at a school, feel free to contact me. You can do that through Facebook. You can do that at chuck@chuckbrodsky.com, email. I'm very blessed with friends. I've got some great friends out there. Some of them I don't even know, or hardly know at all. But your friends have been keeping me going. You've been keeping me alive week to week, and I thank you from the bottom of my heart for that. It's been it's been 10 months, and here we are. Here I am, kicking. So, I'll sing this song for my Facebook friends.
Sometimes I sit here in the dark, just the light of the screen. Maybe I don't get dressed, have a little more caffeine. Sometimes I stay up late, time goes by, I say what's on my mind, and I hope for a reply. I never stay away long, I start missing all my friends. I post my photographs, I use my very best lens. Sometimes the comments never come, sometimes I sit and I wait. Oh, won't you please like me? Is there someone who can relate? Nobody ever writes me letters, I don't know why I have a phone. I got a couple thousand friends now, I don't feel so alone. Sometimes I drop them a line, sometimes they think of me too. They want to know if I'm okay, in just a sentence or two. And I know who cooked Italian, I know who got new shoes, I know who had to pull a tranny, who's away on a cruise. I know who got that dreaded letter, I know who just switched shampoos, I know who's using smiley faces, and I know who's got the blues. I know who likes what, I know who's friends with who, I know what everybody just did, what they're planning to do. I know who's having a birthday, I know who just lost their job, I know it rained in Sarasota for a little while and then it stopped. I found a lot of old classmates, people I once knew. Everybody went their own ways, as people these days will do. Well, some of them got wealthy, and some are living hand to mouth. Some of them are up north still, some have settled in the south. All of my old flames got married, some they got divorced, and of the ones who have fallen, some never got back on the horse. And the ones that did have children, none of them look like me. I hope that everybody's happy, I that everybody's free. I know who likes what, know who's friends with who. I know what everybody just did, what they're planning to do. I know who just lost their father, who's decided to adopt. I know it rained in Sarasota for a little while and then it stopped. Prayers, my friend in Uganda, my friends in Israel and Iran, Nova Scotia, Ireland and Denmark, Lithuania and Japan. Well, I hope someday to meet them, their place or mine. But for now it makes me happy when I see them here online. And I know who got a puppy, I know those rose bushes died, and the ones who own ponies, sometimes I tell them I can ride. You know, I flirted with some women. Well, these days, how can you tell? Some of them could be men. And then there was the time when Elvis asked if he could be my friend. I know who likes what, know who's friends with who. I know what everybody just did, what they're planning to do. I know who's fighting cancer. Sometimes I just start to sob. I know it rains in Sarasota for a little while and then it stops. I know it rains in Sarasota for a little while and then it stops. I know it rains in Sarasota for a little while and then it stops.
So, about, it was 12, 14 years ago, somewhere around then. Had a song used in a major movie called Radio. And you may have seen that movie. You may have been aware that a year ago Radio passed away. Radio and Coach Jones, Coach Harold Jones from Anderson, South Carolina, friends of mine. Coach Jones still is. And I wrote this song long before the movie was made. And then I was invited to be in the movie. The director became a friend of mine because he and I are both from the same neighborhood. We're the same age. We both grew up big Philadelphia Phillies fans and big Richie Allen fans. And so he personally invited me, Mike Tolan was his name, the director, and he personally invited me to be on the set for the filming and to be in the final scene where they switched to the real people, not the actors anymore, and it's a banquet scene. I'll show you a few pictures here. I love this one, Radio sitting in the director's chair. Here's a photo from Radio's 50th birthday party. This is from the little party before the world premiere, and that's Cuba Gooding Jr. That's me with Ed Harris. That was on the set. This is my favorite photo of Radio of all time. This was behind the scenes on the set. And there was a guitar floating around, and Radio picked it up and started noodling with it. Here's a picture the night of the world premiere. There's a picture of me singing the song with Radio at the world premiere. earlier albums after radio. And he was a very special fella. And this is his story.
Anderson, South Carolina, TL Hannah High. People there will tell you, just ask any passerby, about the kid who speaks in gibberish. Folks would tell you, shoot, well, there was nothing but a little love and attention, gave voice to a mute who stood with his transistor pressed against his ear, picking up certain frequencies that only he could hear. There was this little man inside it, perhaps his only friend, the only one who talked to him, the only one back then. Well, Coach Jones yelled, "Come here, boy," to this kid up in the stands. Was mimicking him loudly and making gestures with his hands. Players on this football team exchanged uneasy glances. He jumped when Coach said to jump, but how slow the boy was advancing. Coach Jones was pulling on the drawstrings of his hood. The kid he spoke in gibberish, and Coach, he understood. Lamb imitating lion should look like easy prey. But this is not what happened, no. It went the other way. Well, this kid they nicknamed Radio, he was 18 going on 6. The team needed a water boy, so the job was his. Coach convinced the principal to bend a couple of rules. Let's pick up Radio every day on the way to school. And everywhere that Coach Jones went, his lamb was sure to go. They tried him out in special ed, but his marks were too low. The kid's now in his 60s, his hair is sprinkled white. For 40-some years he's come to school, but he cannot read or write. But come football Fridays, they let Radio be the star. He falls in with the marching band, then with the color guard. He jumps when the cheerleaders jump, pom-poms on his hands. And he cusses like the coaches do, and he high-fives with the fans. And they give Radio report cards, and they give him varsity letters. They let him wander freely in his TL Hannah sweater. He visits all the classrooms, if ever there's a test. He whips out his box of crayons, and he tries his very best. Well, everyone knows Radio. The townspeople adore him, and the students pat his head just like the parents did before them. Anderson, South Carolina, folks will tell you, shoot, there was nothing but a little love and attention, gave voice to a mute.
Couple more songs for you. If you're interested in tipping today or picking up recordings, whether they be CDs or digital downloads, or if you're interested in becoming my patron, all of the links, once again, are at the very beginning of the comments in both Facebook and YouTube. And on YouTube, they'll also be in the chat window. I hope you'll follow me on Facebook, and I hope that you will subscribe to my YouTube channel. Now it's time for a magic trick. Abracadabra, presto changeo. This is a song that I wrote back in 1981. This song is 40 years old. And I'd like to dedicate it to my parents. Also like to dedicate it to Betsy Burnham. Hang in there, Betsy.
Well, I hope I see you later, 'cause it's time for me to go. That's my ride that just pulled over, and it sure was good to know you. So go answer your calling, go and fill somebody's cup. If you see an angel falling, won't you stop and help them up? We are each other's angels, and we meet when it is time. We keep each other going, and we show each other signs. Sometimes you'll stumble, sometimes you'll just lie down, sometimes you'll get lonely with all these people around. You might shiver when the wind blows, and you might get blown away. You might lose a little color, you might lose a little faith. We are each other's angels, and we meet when it is time. We keep each other going, and we show each other signs. So thank you for the water. Thought I was gonna die out here in the desert, but you quenched my thirst. Let's break a little bread together. Got a little manna. It was a gift from someone who was passing by and offered me a lift. We are each other's angels, and we meet when it is time. We keep each other going, and we show each other signs.
False ending. I have one more song for you. Thanks again for watching. I really appreciate you tuning in. Hope you'll tune in next week. It'll be my 30th week of live streaming. So stay well, stay healthy, stay safe. And here's one last song for you.
Couple of pints, gonna usually do you. Doesn't take long for hope and you pray that there won't be a queue. Not a border sign or a surprise for you. It won't go away when you turn the crank. When you finally arrive, the Armitage Shanks, Armitage Shanks, Armitage Shanks. Let us be grateful, let us give thanks. May we never regret the drinks we drank. Praise be the name of Armitage Shanks.
In case you didn't realize by now, this is about a toilet. And this brand is quite popular over in the UK and Ireland.
One too many, give you the spin. Make you a little weak in the shin. Here's to the one whose sorry head hangs over the rim of the Armitage Shanks. Sometimes they'll tell you it's just for customers' use. You'll ask real nice, and they'll still refuse. Give all the money that you have in the bank. They don't let you use the Armitage Shanks, Armitage Shanks, Armitage Shanks. Let us be grateful, let us give thanks. May we never regret the drinks we drank. Praise be the name of Armitage Shanks. Well, this is the last song.
No, it's not. Had to stretch it out a little.
This is the last song at the end of the show. In about an hour, and you all have to go. Just a wee bit longer while I fill in some blanks. You'll appreciate it even more, the Armitage Shanks. Now as you sit there listening to me, you've been drinking pints, we all have to pee. So wouldn't it be pretty good, Frank, to have 65 verses to Armitage Shanks? 65 verses to Armitage Shanks. 65 different ways that we can give thanks. Well, I know for you that there's only one. Gonna end this song soon, then you all can run.
But meanwhile, don't think of rivers, don't think of creeks.
Chase away thoughts about pipes that leak, faucets dripping,
And balloons gone